Good to see you, HR.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. You know
Good.
what? I'm feeling good.
It's good.
I'm feeling good about myself because I've been pounding the Rich Eisen show desk on both coasts now.
I see that.
About the issue that baseball needs to deal with is not pace of play, but style of play, quality of play.
Yeah.
And the commissioner, who's been Mr. Father Time, like tapping his watch, looking at everybody saying, let's go, let's pick up the pace here. Came on and he just said, I'm not worried about time of game, doesn't just worry, but it's about pace of play. I've never heard him say that before. Is that a new thing that we just heard?
Well,
from him?
yeah, I think it's new, but here's what I think is new. They're still definitely interested in the pace of play because they want you to get in and out within 3 hours.
Sure.
But I think the revelation for the commissioner and I think everybody in the front office over there, and it may not be a revelation, that might be a stronger word, is the fact that the ball's not in play. And this is something that's been discussed for a while. That's why you hear so much conversation about a pitch clock and a shift being taken away, putting regulations in, because it's going to create more activity. And the 3 true outcomes, strikeout, walk, homer, are happening, and it's not good for the game right now. So that's why the commissioner, I think he's a fan. He watches every game. Mm-hmm. And if you watch every game like he does, he's not blind. He sees what's happening. So, yeah, it was refreshing to hear that.
It was.
I think but he knows it. He finally put it out there for everybody to know he knows.
Okay, great. So
right.
Is the shift the biggest culprit?
The
way that I'm targeting.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I think everything kind of trickles down from that. When was the last time you saw a hit and run, a double steal, all those things? And that, to me, comes from the front offices. So it's a combination. The shift has the face on it, but I think if you look at the general managers are all seeing the game the same way.
Right.
For a guy who's been around as long as I have, and you've probably heard this, hey, that's how the Orioles play. Oh, that guy must be a Royals player. Oh, he plays for the A's. There's no team identity. It's just they all play the same style, and that's why the shift, to me, has changed the game.
Well, walk me through it before we get into a little bit more on the field. So more often than not, what is it? Do the general managers in Major League Baseball make the lineups?
More so,
on behalf
yeah.
of the managers, they basically say, okay, we know who's pitching, and these are the guys that we think are best against this pitcher, and give that lineup to the manager and say, this is who you're starting, and then the manager just has to actually manage the game once the game starts.
There's only a few managers, I think, left in baseball that go, here's the lineup I'm suggesting. You suggest a lineup to me, here's where I'm writing it out. I think they all now are written out basically by the front office. So, yes.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Did you ever have a manager who had that happen when you played?
Not when I played. No, the manager controlled everything. And that's what we're seeing different is that I played for managers that were defensive-minded or they were offensive-minded. There was creativity. You knew what the style was. The lineups now, players get a text message in the morning. You're playing tonight, Rich. I know you hit 2 home runs yesterday, Mr. Jock Peterson, but you're not in the lineup. That's what they get now. That's the communication.
They get a text message in the morning to let them know
if you're in the game or not.
If you're not. So everyone gets a text message.
Yes.
You're out today or you're in today.
And it's easy to have somebody not come back at you like, hey, hold it, time out. I'm hotter than a pistol. Why am I not playing? It's an arms away distance that I just shoot you a text and there's no conversation, no confrontation.
Until I guess maybe you see him at the ballpark.
But by then,
you're cooled off.
Yeah, probably so.
Which manager that you played for would have least liked to have heard from the front office that this is your lineup today?
Hands down, Dick Williams. I mean, Dick Williams. I got so many Dick Williams stories. I can't even begin to imagine what he would do today with a lineup being handed to him. But I do think this. He would have taken the information.
Yes.
I think the information's great. This guy is going to hit the ball here 90% of the time. This guy's going to do this matchup there. But at the end of the day, there is a human element. And I think the one thing that Dick Williams knew was, yeah, the numbers might say this guy's good, but he's terrible. He has no heart. He's going to fold in the 7th. That would have been Dick Williams. And so I think that's the difference.
Well, I mean, Hal Reynolds here on the Rich Eisen Show. And again, you can watch him on MLB Tonight, airs 7 days a week, Emmy nominated again. Plus, MLB Network is airing live baseball every day for the rest of April, including tonight's Athletics-Astros game at 8 Eastern Time. It's a good matchup right there. How predictive are metrics. I mean, how accurately predictive are these metrics?
They're fairly accurate, and the thing is, I think the players have played into it. They haven't made an adjustment. I can't imagine going to the plate and having 5 guys on one side of the field and not think about hitting the ball the other way. It doesn't enter the players' minds, and so to me, what's happening is you're getting paid on the statistics now that everybody thinks is important: WAR, on-base percentage. RBI, not RBIs. They don't think RBIs and batting average matter, so they're throwing those two things out.
How is that possible?
Runs
batted in. He said that puts the run on the board. I mean, and that's the most determined in my history of watching baseball and covering baseball. The most determinative factor is runs.
Yes.
I'm just telling you.
You have more runs than the other team.
You win.
Yes.
That's my point. You would see it differently if you were a general manager, and I might see the game differently than somebody else. What we have is almost a think tank, and they all see the game the same. RBIs don't matter. Batting averages as of luck is a product of luck. Individual pitching is what an individual can control. Those are the things that most front offices are looking at. So it's frustrating because you don't end the game unless somebody scores, right? Somebody's got to drive in and run. And not everybody that walks is going to score from first base on a ball hitting the gap. So we're at a crossroads trying to figure all these things out right now.
Harold Reynolds here on the Rich Eisen Show. Astros are playing tonight, and that's one way I can walk through this door here. Why? Why doesn't Dallas Keuchel have a job right now? How is that possible?
Well, one, I don't know what offers he's had. So he's had offers. It may not be. So number one, it may not be what he thinks he's worth or where he thinks the market's at. It's not like he hasn't had an offer. So I don't know what that is. Secondly, it may not be what he wants. Obviously, hasn't got what he wants offered to him.
I guess then why would Dallas Keuchel not get an offer that you as a former player would understand that he would take?
Well, I think what we're seeing is, you asked me earlier, how accurate are the numbers? And a lot of front offices believe the numbers are 100%. So if you're watching the trends in baseball over the last 2 or 3 years, if you're 31 or 32, they're basically saying, now you're dropping off. I'm not paying for the rest of those years. I pay for your prime years. That's why you're seeing Trout, Harper, Machado, those guys get long extended contracts because they want to pay for those prime years.
So pitchers are being viewed like running backs in football right now? Once you hit 30, or players just
in general.
Really?
That's really, if you look at the crux of it, look at Adam Jones. Adam Jones, 33 years old. You'd think he's 40 the way we acted this winter. And he's still a very productive player, but he's not going to have those prime years ahead of him. So here's where you're at. And I think it's a combination of things. There are a lot of players in the big leagues that shouldn't be. They shouldn't be there. And they've paid for mediocrity for a long period of time. So because there's guys that shouldn't be there and some contracts that haven't worked, everybody pays for that. So now they've mainstreamed it to, we know these are the prime years of a player. I'll gladly pay. I'll overpay for those. But if you're before or after, they're not paying for that.
Why are players that don't belong in the league, why are they in the league? Because they're Rule 5 or something like that? Or they have
Well, not even Rule 5. It's to me, it's how the lineups or a roster's constructed. If you can take, for the Cubs, for example, or the Milwaukee Brewers, and put Moustakas or Bodie at second base, why do I need to carry that little second baseman that can have some range? I can put my third baseman at second and put him in right field in a shift. That's why I've become an advocate against the shift. There's no athleticism anymore, and we're cutting the little guy out. If there's my frustration being the little guy that played.
Yes.
And the great thing about baseball, we've always said size doesn't matter. But now we're talking about exit velocity and all these different things. If you don't hit a ball over a 95-mile-an-hour exit velocity, you're not considered a very good player. Well, how can that be? If I drop down a base hit and still second and third, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But those don't compute.
So
the science of figuring it all out.
Seinfeld's line when we interviewed him about the beauty of baseball, he says it's the democracy of talent and physique that you can have.
Yeah, I like that.
You can have. It's what he said. It doesn't matter if you're 5'6", if you're Altuve or Judge.
Yeah.
Those were the two MVP candidates, obviously. Altuve won it a couple of years ago. But that's the beauty of baseball. It's a democracy of talent and physique.
Yeah.
And you're saying right now, though, that the metrics are messing with that.
The metrics are screwing that around a little bit, yes. But I will say this.
Yes.
The game is in a good spot. We got a ton of young talent. I mean, all that said,
Yes.
I think there's a couple things that need to be tweaked. The biggest conversations we've been having that are negative are about the shift, how to adjust to that.
Yes.
Pace of play we talked about, and the pitch clock. You know, every player that I talk to has a different view on it. But if you look at minor league baseball, they have the pitch clock in now, and guys are used to it. So those kids are getting called up in the big leagues, and they're looking around for a pitch clock. It's not there anymore. So I think with some things that can be tweaked,
Yes.
and throughout history of all the sports, where it was basketball, they put in a three-point line. You know, if it was football, they continue to change their rules because you want scoring, you want action, and so that's what we got to get back to a little bit.
What's your prediction for this year, Harold? Coming in, what do you got?
You know what? I had the Astros in the World Series, and I had them playing against the Cubs. And they're both off to a slow start, but we'll see. I still think at the end of the day, I think the Angels are going to be better. The Mariners are showing that they're better than I thought they would be. The surprise club that I saw this spring were the Nationals. Even though Harper's gone, I think the Nats are going to be right there. I love the National League East. It's a beast.
Yeah.
The Mets are better. The Phillies are really good. The Braves are a good club. And who I talked about already, the Nationals. So those four are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, we had Leiter on opening day, and he had Astros Cardinals. Is that what he had? He liked the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think so.
I liked the Cardinals when I saw them in spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what they were doing.
You know, Goldschmidt had already had a big, huge game for
He's
them.
a nice
so
pickup. And Andrew Miller with that club as well. So those
Right.
two guys changed the team around.
Goldschmidt is like he is in the dictionary the photograph of a Cardinal, right?
He truly is.
Goldschmidt is a St. Louis Cardinal.
Yeah, he is.
As the day is long.
And I tell you what, Bryce Harper looks like a Philly. He's fitting in great there. I'm seeing the Bryce Harper I knew when he was like 17 or 18. On fire, excited about going to the ballpark, yelling and screaming. I thought the home run he hit, and he came back and got the curtain call. I was at that game Saturday in Philly last weekend.
Yeah.
And the curtain call, most guys come out, tip the cap, you know. He came out yelling and screaming. It was so cool, man.
Well, he went to a Sixer game last night with Wentz, right?
Yeah, rang the bell.
Yeah, he and Carson Wentz are just so the young Turks of the Philly sports scene paying homage to the Sixers, the young team in a way of the Philly sports scene.
He wants to get entrenched in there.
And then the bat flip. I guess it's not surprising that the Nats fans would boo him, but did they not know how much deferred money he was offered? I mean, is that not, I guess?
Well, it doesn't matter really, does it? I mean, he left their club, and that's how anybody who's a loyal fan is going to look at it that way. And if it was he signed for less money to go somewhere, they'd still be upset with him, which I think is great. That's what sports are about.
The bat flip was epic.
It was good.
And I'm not really a big bat flip guy, but in that moment, it's kind of like, okay, nice. I struck out before you had your say. Now here's my say, bat flip, and the ball went like it was the home run derby.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
It's insane.
Good stuff.
Good to see you, sir.
All right, my man.
Good to see you. Let me know when you're out in Los Angeles.
Yes, thanks for coming east. You brought a little edge with you out East Coast.
You know what? I like it. It's just my old stomping grounds. It's where I was born and raised in this city, and it's great.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.